This week on Ticket Stubs. Remember that guy from The Office? No, not from the good office, from the American office. Well, he went out and he made a movie, and he put his wife in it too. This week, we're talking about 2018's A Quiet Place.
Hello, boys.
Hello, boys.
How are my boys?
Not too bad. How are you both going?
Yeah,
Doing good. Yeah, doing good. Had a good day. Yeah. Fully vaxxed now, so good to go. Good to take on the world.
Oh, you're fully vaxxed? I'm fully vaxxed.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh. Well, I'm fully vaxxed too. Now we can all swap saliva and open mouth kiss in a big group.
Oh.
Well, me and Dane haven't stopped doing that, so.
Oh.
That's how COVID started.
Well, last year, back when lockdown eased up a bit, I was playing dodgeball on a dodgeball team, and you couldn't shake hands, you could only bump elbows. And my friend Blake, he was like, "Oh, Ciarin, doesn't it suck that you can't shake hands and say good game anymore? You have to bump elbows." And I was like, "Wait, you're not allowed to shake hands?" He was like, "No, Ciarin, because of the germs." And I was like, "I just open mouth kissed 10 of those guys." And he was like, "No, you didn't." And then I was like, "Nah, I didn't. I'm kidding. Got you.
Just kidding.
Haha."
Well, anyway, Ryan,
Yes.
we're talking about your pick this week.
Yes. My movie choice was obviously A Quiet Place from 2018. Which, it pretty much, the story focuses on the Abbott family, which is the wife Evelyn, husband Lee, their teenage daughter Regan, and the two younger sons Marcus and Beau, as they attempt to live in a world with aliens, which have very acute hearing. And pretty much, as the movie's tagline states, if they hear you, they hunt you, which, works really well for the film. But I just want to know, before we start, what was your experience with the movie? Did you guys manage to see it in theaters?
I got to see it in the theatre, and I quite enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but I thought it was really funny because everybody in the theatre kind of stopped talking and stopped chewing on their food really loudly and started being quiet along with the characters, which I thought was a bit funny.
I didn't get to watch it for the first time until last year, because when it came out, I was living in a very small rural town, and the nearest cinema was 2 hours away, and I just didn't think that movie was worth a 4-hour round trip. But when I watched it the first time, wasn't super fussed on it. Ryan, you and I discussed this in the past. I was kind of was like a bit of a bitchy boy about having to watch it again, but
You?
I've come out with a bit more appreciation for it. Yes, me.
You a bitchy boy? I've
come out with a bit more appreciation for it this second viewing.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, well, I saw it at the movies, and I loved it. I just loved the way they played with the sound in the movie and the way it plays such a crucial role. Yeah, I had a great time with it, and I recommended it to everyone because I was like, hey, even if you don't really like horror, it's a pretty intense thriller at times. So yeah, it's quite easily enjoyable. And my parents watched it, and they really liked it too. So yeah, really liked the movie. I think it's a great time.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, my dear friend, shall we get into it?
I think so.
Take
Beautiful.
it away, boys.
Okay. Well, pretty much the story starts, it starts on the black screen and it says day 89. And then this kind of opening scene is all about the family, and they're going to their local store to get some medicine for their son, Marcus, who is sick. But we get a lot of information about the three children characters. Marcus is sick, Regan is deaf, and the youngest son doesn't actually understand the world that he's living in. You can see him running around making a lot more noise than everyone else, and everyone else in the scene is tiptoeing around. You see the mum, Evelyn, slowly pick up these pill bottles, trying not to make a noise, whereas the kid is just running around having a great time. But yeah, this whole scene is very tense and just silent. It's so quiet. It's such a weird opening for the movie too, but it really throws you into the world.
I quite appreciated how it would often cut from when it focused on Regan, who is I suppose, the main protagonist of the film. Every time it cut to her perspective, it would just be complete and utter silence. There was no ambient sound or anything. So upon my second viewing, I was like, yeah, okay, I didn't notice that the first time. I'm starting to appreciate this film a lot more. But then that little kid that was running around and like trying to yank shit off the shelves, you just wanted to fucking just shake the shit out of that boy and tell him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
There were some pretty irresponsible parents. Like, how old was that kid? 4? Maybe?
Yeah, he's got to be like 4-ish.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
He's got to be like 4. He's running around. He doesn't give a fuck.
Nah.
It would be worth grabbing him and being, shut the fuck up! Just to yell that at him.
You'd risk getting killed by the monster just so you can scream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I must say about...
Stop knocking shit off shelves.
Yeah. God
I
damn.
must say about that pharmacy or store, though, that was the most, like, well-stocked, post-apocalyptic shop I've ever seen. Like, those people must have been terrible at looting.
Everything you could ever want. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
They should have just moved into the chemist.
Yeah, they
They
should
should
have.
have.
We have to risk going out all the time.
Yeah.
And why did they have to take the whole family to go get... Why... I don't see why that was necessary, but... Okay.
Very irresponsible parenting.
Yeah, you don't think
No.
about that when you're watching it, but after, you're like, wait, why was the entire family there? That could have been just, like, John Krasinski just running out and, yeah, grabbing the pills or whatever he needed to do.
Because, like, in this movie, maybe in this sequel it's a bit different, but we're just talking about this movie. There's nobody, like, running around, like, trying to get him. Like, it seems like, apart from being noisy, it seemed like the threat was relatively low, like, apart from that. Like, why'd you have to bring your whole fucking family, like a herd of elephants holding each other's tails? all
And
way
the
to
youngest kid.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave him and Regan and the sick kid at home. Just be like, you guys stay here. We'll be back in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Sit tight.
Be quiet, like normal.
we later learn, like, a little bit down the road of the film, they have little hidey holes in their home. Just be like, okay, kids, climb down in here, shush your mouths for a bit. We'll be back. But they decide to go on a fucking school excursion and drag everyone and the noisiest kid along.
One thing I noticed too, like, because there's a lot of indirect storytelling going on, which I think is really cool. Like, we see things through missing posters and newspapers. Articles.
Yeah.
But my question is, how would they be able to print the newspapers and distribute them? Like, wouldn't that have been heaps noisy, and then the creatures would have found them and killed them? Like,
It's a very good point, yeah. Because you assume day 89. Aliens kill people by sound.
They've got one of those old tin director's horns, just shouting that on the soapbox. Everyone be quiet!
Yeah, and like printing presses are not quiet either. They like chug along.
Like Dumbledore in Harry Potter, and he's like, silence! Make everybody be quiet!
Yeah. But anyway, pretty much the main, I don't know, I suppose you could say it's the conflict of this first scene, is that the youngest son, Beau, wants this toy rocket that he sees on the shelf, which he accidentally hits off the shelf, and Regan catches it and saves him. And then just as they're about to leave, the kid brings the rocket with him as if to carry it. And there's a very tense moment when the family realise that, yeah, he's holding this toy and it's still got batteries in it. So then John Krasinski slowly picks it off him and takes the batteries out, and they leave it there. And then the family leave, and Beau and Regan are the last two in the shop, and Regan gives him the rocket, and then Regan leaves him, and then Beau picks up the batteries and takes them with him. So then you kind of get this, yeah, they're on their way home, and they're walking along these paths of sand, which they seem to have laid to all the places they need to go, because it absorbs all of their...
So much sand.
So much
Wow.
sand.
Where did all that sand come from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
A lot of sand to go all the way from your house all the way into town. And they don't just have the sand all the way into town, they have it all over their property too. Like, where'd you get that sand, mate?
Surely all the wheelbarrows full of sound would make enough ruckus. One of the things I noticed straight away, so many shots of bare feet, enough that Tarantino would cum himself over them, and so much sand.
Yeah,
so much
not wrong.
sand, Anakin Skywalker would hate it.
It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
He would not survive in that world.
Oh man, he'd kill a whole bunch of younglings over that much sand.
Well, you should have started with this first youngling with the rocket and the batteries. Anyway, Ryan, carry
And
on.
the women and the children.
But pretty much then the kid, they are about to cross this bridge, and then it appears their property is kind of on the other side of the bridge. And then just out of the quiet of the world, you hear this kind of, I don't know, like a startup sequence noise come from behind the family. And they all turn and see that the youngest kid, Bo, is holding the rocket with the lights going off and the sound coming from there. And then, yeah, you really feel how intense this situation is and how quiet they really have to be, because then this alien starts coming towards him and starts breaking through the trees, and John Krasinski's running towards him, trying to save him, and the kid just gets absolutely destroyed by this alien just in front of John Krasinski. Like, there is not a piece of that kid left. He's gone.
Just a red mist.
He is literally just not in this world anymore. But it's such a good scene. Like, this whole opening sequence is incredible, but that scene just sets up how dangerous it is in this world, how careful they have to be all the time. Pretty ballsy move for a movie to kill off a kid in the first 10 minutes to really set the stakes.
Yeah.
Like,
At least it wasn't a dog.
Yeah, well.
I would have switched it right off if it was a dog, yeah. I would have been out of there.
It didn't try to John Wick us.
No.
Yeah, no John Wick.
Killing little kids at the start of a movie, fine. Killing puppies at the start of a movie, not fine.
Yeah, no good.
This opening scene, like, it really made me... I've got a lot of, like, in my notes, I've got a lot of questions written down. Why was the youngest at the back of the line, number one? That's just asking for trouble. Like... Why was also, like, their deaf daughter, why was she at the back of the line? She can't hear.
Yeah, she can't hear when she makes a noise.
The two most vulnerable people in the family.
So, you two can look after each other. Like, no worries.
Yeah, let the deaf daughter look after a 4-year-old kid. Very
that's
good.
hell-bent on making as much noise as possible. And then, my other big question is, how did they figure out how much sound they could make? Like, was it a cheaper by the dozen situation, and then all the kids got eaten, and that's where like, oh, there we go.
We've only got 3 left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just knocking them down like dominoes, one by one.
Like, that's how did they work this out? It was like, okay, yes, walking on sand is good, but I can't talk louder. I can't talk at all.
I can't play the bagpipes anymore. Too noisy. We got to throw out my bagpipes.
I can't stand on the roof and clap. Those were the days. Am I right, boys?
I can't wake up and scream at the sunrise. Just like I used to do, so. Yeah.
Good morning!
But yeah, I think this opening scene, like, it's surprising it's not a short film. It feels like something that would have been a short film that got turned into a feature. Like, it just works so well as a standalone part of the movie. Yeah, it just works so well, just setting up the world. You get these little bits of character information thrown in. You get the stakes immediately. And yeah, it just all works so well together. Yeah.
It was really intense, and you can feel it along with the characters, definitely. Like, it was a good scene. When you don't look at all of the little like, when you're not nitpicking, then it's really good.
I think on your first viewing, you don't notice it. But then, if you see it a few times and you're like, oh, that is weird. Why are they at the back? And what's happening over here? And yeah, you start to see a few more holes in it.
I smell a plot device. Smells like sand.
Yeah. And then, this opening scene is when you first see the score, which, I think is fantastic. And it plays really well with the movie's like use of silence, and then bringing in this incredible score as well. It just works really well together. But yeah, pretty much then there, the kid gets killed. John Krasinski looks a bit sad when he gets killed.
He's a bit bummed, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like, oh dang.
Now
we've only got 2 left.
We've only got 2. We got to make another one.
Yeah, god damn it. But then pretty much after that, then it cuts to day 471. So obviously a fair bit later. And then we're reintroduced back into the world and seeing kind of the routines that each of the characters lives every day, pretty much. So Lee's main job, who is John Krasinski, is working to fix his daughter's cochlear implant. Evelyn, who is Emily Blunt, is working around the house getting ready for their baby because, yes, they are pregnant in this.
How did they even have sex to make a baby? Like, you can't talk above a whisper, but you can slap your bits together. So...
Yeah.
But so they can make a baby, and then why did she go along with the pregnancy? And I thought that it was, like, normal to, like, sob uncontrollably after sex, so I'm a bit confused. Like, how did they do that quietly?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, Ciarin, when I have sex, it is always deathly quiet. So, I mean, I can understand.
Yeah, you can get it. You could survive in this world then.
Yeah.
With how stocked up that pharmacy was too, how was she not able to get some Plan B? And after like that toddler got KO'd by an alien, like how did they think that it was a good idea? And that give credence to my cheap by the dozen theory.
Yeah.
Because I think they were like, oh shit, we lost like the little one that we were gonna like chuck as a
We need more lambs for the slaughter.
Yeah. Yes, we need another noisy thing to distract them if they come after us.
Just crazy. But then pretty much, yeah, we're just kind of seeing how the characters see what they do every day pretty much. And then, yeah, we see the scene with Lee, which is him down in the basement, where you'll see quite a bit of the movie take place, which I still think has some of the weirdest and silliest world-building exposition that I've ever seen in cinema.
Yeah, 100%.
Just
very on the nose.
Yeah, just so on the nose. Like, just literally...
testes, boys.
Just, like, it's like John Krasinski was next to me in the theatre, and he's like...
Hey.
The aliens, like, they're blind, they attack sound, and they have armor. You got that? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I got it.
Yes,
I got it, John. Are you enjoying the movie? Oh, yeah, loving it. Yeah. But I do think my favorite bit, like, it's on this whiteboard. They've got all these notes written on there, and then the Holy Grail at the bottom of it, it just says, what is their weakness, in big letters with a question mark all circled like 5 times. And I'm like, do you need to write that if you don't know what it is?
I also like that it says survive on it. Like, yeah. And it's like, well, that's why that kid got fucking killed, because he couldn't read yet.
They wrote it the day after he died. They're like, maybe if we plan to survive.
And it says like there's 3 aliens in the area, so there isn't a swarm, but there is enough to cause like a bit of trouble, I guess. Like, because you're used to like zombie movies, I guess, or you know, more recent alien movies, like from the Alien franchise, where you just overcome with a swarm of aliens. And like, forgot to mention before, like when they were at the pharmacy, they were missing posters everywhere. And so I think there was like a gradual takeover and not a massive extinction event, like, which is why they're able to live on their secluded farm, I guess.
It's funny though, like, Ciarin, you've seen the second one, because then that kind of, the opening of the second one kind of disproves that.
Yeah, it's really
like,
strange.
Yeah, and then you're like, how did the world get here? Like, yeah.
You're like, excuse me, you remember that movie you just watched? Well, forget all about that, because we got this thing.
This is a sequel. We can do what the hell we want.
Part of me likes that there is, like, not an overbearing backstory, how it's all very vague as to how they got there and what went down and everything. But then the other part of me is like, oh, this is annoying me. None of this fucking makes sense. Like, same thing, like, you'd imagine everyone would just be running around screaming and carrying on and knocking shit over.
Yeah.
The whole town would have just been, obliterated.
It would
Dr.
just be
Manhattan,
chaos.
Everyone turned to dust.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liken it to War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg.
Oh, yeah.
Because that doesn't have a lot of explanation. Things just happen, and you go along for the ride.
Yeah.
And you get little bits and pieces here and there, but you don't... Except that one was a better movie. So...
Until about the second half, then that one falls off. I'd actually love to do an episode on that. Because that movie's got a very special place in my heart. That's a great movie.
I love Steven Spielberg movies. Anyway.
Yeah.
This is not a Steven Spielberg
This is not. This is a John Krasinski movie. But pretty much also, Lee has a routine where every night, I believe, he lights a fire on top of their grain silo to make contact with the survivors that are on the nearby farms, which is pretty cool.
I have a question about that. I take umbrage with that.
Oh, God.
I think I do too.
They don't have eyeballs, right? But
The monsters. The aliens.
They can't see. They can't see shit. We saw on the whiteboard they're blind. So they can hear really fucking good. Does that also mean that their sense of smell is also very good? Because in that case, they'd be up that fucking tower, like, straight away, with how much shit they're putting in that fire.
Yeah, but also no one's bathing in this film, so you'd think that everyone smells like a fucking like an old scrotum.
And then that's all I take umbrage with. Why aren't they going up there? They're all stinky and gasoline-y.
And fires make noise too, because they like crackle and pop when the wood burns.
Yeah.
But
But you can't like make any noise at all, but you can burn a fire.
Yeah. And then like in this next scene, which that's I think everyone's biggest problem with the movie is the inconsistencies with the sounds. Because this next scene, the kids they're having dinner as a family and they're eating on leaves because obviously plates would make too much noise. And then after that, the kids are playing Monopoly on the ground. They're not using Monopoly pieces. They're using bits of felt instead of the little metal pieces of Monopoly, which, they would not make no noise at all, really.
No, and this is where I take further umbrage, because out of all the Monopoly games I've ever played in my life, it's never been silent or pleasant. Like, any Monopoly game, ask anyone, it ends in a shouting match. Someone will flip a board over, someone will accuse someone of cheating. You can't play it silently, or friendly for that matter.
Why would you put another house on there? Can't you see I'm already struggling?
Why'd you have to buy all the blue ones? I have to pass go. I need to collect $200.
I need my money.
But yeah, also, I take further umbrage with this scene now that
on
just one-upping each other without umbrage.
That room was extremely well lit. Why did they have that lantern there? They have electricity.
They do have electricity.
Like,
no, they've got one of their kids running on a hamster wheel in the corner. One of their 15 children.
That was a practical effect, that fire thing, though.
Yeah, that's...
Like, I was watching an interview with Krasinski, and he's like, probably not the best idea to have starting fires next to children. I'm like, no, more often.
Well,
more fires next to kids.
You ever seen that Jodie Foster movie, Nell, where she, like, grows up in a cabin in the woods and doesn't know how to speak because she's never interacted with the outside world? Is that how they get electricity? They just have a whole bunch of, like, basement-dwelling children that pump water and stoke fires and...
Well, I didn't say I wouldn't see Nell. I've got no idea what you're talking
about.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is either.
No, Nell is... So there's a girl in the woods and they find her in the woods and she's never spoken to another person before. She's been completely isolated for her whole life because her caregiver kept her in a cabin, so she has to learn how to speak English and stuff.
Yeah, damn.
But it's Jodie Foster, so she's just magnifying. She's just magnetic.
Electric on screen.
She's like 12. I think it was after she did Taxi Driver. So she did Taxi Driver and then she did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But yeah, pretty much. Anyway, as we were saying, Dane touched on it before. But then the kids, while they're playing Monopoly, knock over a lamp, and there's a quick fire, and that just is like an ear-shattering. Yeah, just like an ear-shattering fire, because the whole they've been silent for like 5 minutes in this whole scene, and the first thing to make a noise is the fire getting knocked over. Just again to drill home the fact that it's how important sound is, and not making a sound will keep you alive in this world. And then everything is very tense, and you think the monster's going to come, but it's just a cheeky raccoon jumping off the roof.
That's so silly. How are there still raccoons if it's so hard? Like, raccoons don't know what the fuck's going on. Like,
does that mean all birds are dead?
Surely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless I don't know. Birds are pretty
flyy
fast.
boys.
Pretty speedy flyy boys. They could
Big fly boys. But yeah, pretty much after that scene, then it is the next day, which is day 472 for the family. Lee and Marcus are going to leave the farm and venture out into the world to go fishing and do some other things around, which we're not exactly sure what the other things are. And Lee and Regan argue as they go to leave, because Regan wants to go with them because she's actually the oldest child, but Lee wants her to stay with Evelyn, she is quite pregnant at the moment, and you can feel the tension kind of between Lee and Regan about this. But Lee and Marcus do end up leaving to go get fish.
It makes perfect sense to want to leave your deaf daughter there, because like at least everyone else will hear where the alien's coming from if they make noise or anything like that, or they'll have a better judgment of the noise that they're making. So,
like, imagine if she needed to fart. She would have no idea how loud her farts would be. They'd just be slapping out there.
I just found her attitude toward it very, very petulant, and that annoyed me. I'm like, you've just seen a little brother get, snatched by an alien, which was your fault because you gave him the batteries. Maybe just listen to your parents and stop thinking that you know what's best. Oh God, kids in movies annoy me.
I can speak to this because I once, believe it or not, boys, was a teenage girl.
What?
Yeah.
Since when?
I'm flabbergasted.
It's a while ago. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I would have been that much of a dipshit when I was her age. I would have been like, I can go with you. I don't care.
You know what, Ciarin, nothing has changed.
It's like, it was Bo's fault that he got KO'd by an alien, not mine. It wasn't I didn't make him take the batteries. I just gave him the rocket. Like, I would have been like that for sure.
As you were saying, Dan, I think the scene is good. I think it's justified because, like, you kind of understand why Lee wants to go with Marcus. It's because Marcus is just literally terrified of the world. Like, he doesn't want to go with Lee at all. And then when they go and they do their fishing down at the river, Lee lets a fish go and it splashes up on shore. And Marcus almost has a heart attack. Like, he turns and is about to run for his life.
He's Usain bolting it out of there as soon as Lee lets go of that fish. Like, he is fucking gone.
He's ready to go.
Apart from, his dad grabbing him and letting him know it's okay. But
then
poor Marcus.
Poor little kid. He's having a rough time. But then kind of from there, Lee's like, it's okay to make noise if there's something like louder next to you. And then Lee takes Marcus up next to a waterfall. And then they have a little bit of a yell. And Marcus is still a bit scared, but then, it's all good because the waterfall is absolutely gushing down and making so much noise. So, he decides to have a yell too. And he lets out a bit of that stress from the stressful situation they're in.
If I may add to our tower of umbrage, that too also annoyed me because it's like you're just picking and choosing rules as you go here. Like, and I mean, I've sat next to some very loud eaters in my time, and I mean, I wanted to strangle them. So to be that quiet at dinner, to use leaves instead of plates, and then knocking over a glass lamp can turn shit sideways, and then screaming at a waterfall. It's like, who's discovering this, boys? Who's finding out these rules?
Goes back to Ciarin's theory. Yeah.
That's a huge risk.
Yeah.
The risk totally outweighs what you would discover, because you go and screaming next to stuff. Imagine if he got KO'd by a monster testing out his theories. And that's why
I believe there were more children, because they had a cheaper by the dozen family, and he took them all out to the waterfall and made them scream at different increments of volume until he figured out how loud he could scream.
They are living on a farm, so maybe they're quite literally separating the wheat from the chaff, but it's human chaff.
Maybe. But it also raises a point, like, when they're screaming at the waterfall, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Well, wouldn't you live next to the waterfall?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you're living in a shitbox of a house that you build yourself. Like, you're next to the waterfall. You can talk to each other. You can live a somewhat normal life. Like,
the amount of times they would have gone to the shops, right, as a family, because obviously they do it as a family every time.
we just got to go to Coles. Hang on a sec.
Yeah. You could have, gone and moved somewhere really, really noisy. Like, they have electricity. That has to let you know, okay, they've got electricity. Power stations, I don't know if you've ever been to a power station, but they're very noisy. Obviously, they're so noisy that the creatures stay away from it. Why wouldn't you go for a little wander down the road and find, the amount of times you leave that farm, you could have moved house already and gone somewhere noisy that you could live quite comfortably.
Yep.
I take umbrage.
I think I need to state again that I really like this movie. As long as, it does have a few holes in it, but I do still really like it.
Who has a few holes? You know what else has a few holes in it?
Who?
Bo.
He doesn't exist anymore, Ciarin.
Because he's got a few holes in him.
Yeah, he's got more than a few holes in him. But pretty much then we cut back to the farm, and Regan decides to venture off with the toy rocket that Bo was holding. So that obviously survived the attack. And she goes to take it to her brother's gravesite. Meanwhile, Evelyn is doing chores around the home. And one of them is carrying up a big-ass bag of potatoes up the stairs from the basement, where John does all of his, working.
Tinkering. He does
tinkering.
Tinkering.
Yeah, with a cochlear implant for Regan.
Another thing, where did he get all of that shit from? That amount of stuff, did you get it all out of the pharmacy? How did they have 30 ham radios there?
Yep, it's a good question.
There might have been an old pawn shop in that little town. Like a cash for gold, but they're just trading in their children for ham radios.
Yeah, that sounds about it. I mean, they obviously had enough with the amount of things that they discovered they could do in this story.
Yeah.
Continue.
But yeah, then this creates a little bit of a interesting moment later on, is when she's carrying up this big ass bag of potatoes up the stairs. It catches on a nail, and as she yanks it, it kind of pulls the nail vertical and straight up, which comes into play for a little bit of a Home Alone moment later on. But then pretty much...
I take umbrage with this. I feel like Dane, when you edit this, can you add a ding every time I take umbrage with
the umbrage tally.
Yes. Okay, I'm no architect. I am not a carpenter. I am just a girl. But why is that nail in the middle of the step? Nails are necessary when you're making a bloody step. So you need some on the sides to hold the steps in place. But that nail was going nowhere at all. Why was it in the middle of the step of all places? Come on. I'd be calling the Department of Fair Trade about that. I'd be leaving a scathing Google review about that.
With Ryan, what you just said there, a bit of a Home Alone thing. I think I'd appreciate this movie way more if it had the wet bandits trying to survive this alien outbreak.
Yes,
and
that
Joe
would be
Pesci
amazing.
just screaming, making all these Joe Pesci sounds.
They just turn on the taps everywhere. Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin's really old now, guys. How
He's
does
still-
that make
I really like Macaulay Culkin.
I was going to say, he's a fun, interesting dude. I like him.
He's married to Brenda Song from Disney Channel.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
And his brother Kieran Culkin is in the very good HBO series Succession.
And
so-
Fargo.
Oh, there
Yes,
you go.
and Fargo.
Yeah, jeez.
But we're getting off track, boys.
Sorry.
Enough
sorry.
with this umbrage. Aside umbrage.
Oh no, I'm not done with the umbrage. It's just
this
there's plenty more time for umbrage.
This specific umbrage, we can shelf that one.
But yeah, then pretty much Evelyn spends the day upstairs in Beau's room, where you can kind of see pretty much crying. She goes up there in the morning, and then she doesn't come down the stairs till like late afternoon. But yeah, it kind of highlights the fact that everyone still has this death like on their shoulders. They're all still carrying it around with them.
I mean, it's hard to. I would imagine it's pretty hard to grieve through sign language.
And silence. Yeah,
In
just
silence.
yeah. They should go to the waterfall and grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, pretty much, Lee and Marcus appear to be on their way home, and they have a bit of a run-in with a local person who we're not sure exactly what's happened to him. So as they walk past, they both kind of stop in front of him, and they see that this guy's killed his wife, or something's killed his wife, and he's there, and you can see he's like building up to the biggest scream of his life. And then they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta run!" And then
He's like scrunching his face.
yeah,
real
he's
bad.
scrunched his face up so hard, and then
He's got to get that momentum to let that yell out. Well, I think like based on what's like happening in this scene, I think it kind of is like doing a show don't tell about the monsters and what they do, because they don't, like, the wife's dead. Well, we're assuming that she's his wife. She could be a hooker. We don't know. But the wife's dead.
Lots
suppose
of
it's-
money in that apocalyptic,
yeah.
apocalyptic sex trade.
Everybody needs some, you know?
I suppose it's never told to us who she is, so
Yeah,
it could be
I
could be anyone.
I can draw whatever conclusion I please. But yeah, so it kind of speaks for the fact that the monsters don't attack to eat; they attack to kill whatever the noisiest thing is in the area. So
Yeah.
they're not hunting humans for food. They're just like, you're too fucking noisy, and I can't deal with it. So I'm gonna squish ya and be done with ya. But yeah, that guy in the woods is really, really random.
Because he's just standing there in front of his wife. It just happens to be at the same time that Lee and Marcus are kind of walking past his place, and then he builds up to this massive scream and then starts screaming. Lee picks up Marcus and runs, and they go and hide behind this tree, and then the monster comes out of nowhere and just absolutely annihilates this guy as well. Just destroys him. Yeah, there would not be much left of him. But yeah, then the monster doesn't actually eat him or anything. It's just there to kill the thing that makes a noise. But yeah, I really like this little scene. Even though it doesn't make a lot of sense, I like it because you get to see the way the aliens move a lot better. And because they've got really long legs and they like awkwardly go through trees really quick. Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool scene.
I just really like it because it shows the type of social norms that they're living in this post-apocalyptic world. There's no common courtesy. He doesn't even wait for them to walk past before he lets out yell. He just goes, well, my wife got left, right, good-nighted by the alien boys. Well, I guess I better go too. And then he didn't be like, oh, you know what? You guys, you wander on past while I yell.
Maybe he was building up his yell, and then Lee and Marcus walked past, and he's like, "Oh shit, I can't hold it any longer." And he's like, "I gotta let it go."
Oh, I think you're on the money there. I think you got it.
But yeah, pretty much then from there, then we cut back to Evelyn, and she's just kind of coming down the stairs from upstairs in Beau's room.
From having
she
to
starts
cry,
have-
she's like,
from having a-
I'm dehydrated from all that crying. I better go downstairs.
But as she makes her way downstairs, she starts having contractions, and then she's going to go down into the basement area. Yeah, where Lee always tinkers. I'm not sure why she wants to go down there, but she goes down there anyway. And then that's our Home Alone scene where she stands on this nail and it goes right into her foot. And she lets out a small yelp and drops a picture frame, which smashes. But
That really hurt my foot to see that happen. I felt that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all felt it.
Yeah, you really
that
feel it.
was-
I think the camera work in that is awesome too. And like
Oh,
it just
yeah.
kind of follows down the stairs and like you know it's there, but she doesn't know it's there. Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
maintain-
nasty.
It is nasty. I'm going to maintain that Emily Blunt is the best part about the whole movie. In
Yeah.
my
Oh,
opinion.
agreed. I love Emily
She's
Blunt.
incredible.
She's
Hmm.
otherworldly. She's so good. And yeah, big shout outs to Regan Millicent Simmons as well. She's pretty
pretty
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets...
Who is actually deaf in real life? I had not realised until further investigating of this film.
Yeah. Which I
Yeah.
Which, you know, props to John Krasinski from The Office. Have you guys seen He's in The Office?
Who?
Props to him for
Do you mean Steve Carell? Is that Steve Carell?
for
I think you mean Rainn Wilson.
props to him for actually hiring someone who, you know, has the disability or the affliction or whichever you want to call it, of actually being deaf rather than someone acting through it.
Yeah.
Which I think really makes it a very believable performance because she's not
Yes.
pretending and she's lived that experience that you wouldn't be able to relate to if you were a hearing person.
No, she was great in it.
And I like it, the way it's used in the story as well, because obviously this family who already know sign language because they have a deaf daughter would go better in this world than someone who doesn't like know sign language or would have to speak or write notes or something, whereas they can just communicate through sign language, which
Well,
obviously gives them advantage in the world.
I would communicate through the
Yes.
universal language of dance.
I'll do mine.
My body can tell 1,000 tales. I'll tell you what. I really can get down and boogie.
Ciarin, when we catch up next, can you tell me A Quiet Place? Can you do A Quiet Place in interpretive dance for me? The whole movie?
Absolutely. So her foot just got stabbed.
Yeah, she stepped on
Yeah.
that big old nail. Picture frame smashes on the ground, and that brings an alien towards her location. Just as she starts having to give birth. And yeah, shit starts to go down, pretty much. So yeah, Evelyn turns on these red lights that they've got set up in the basement, which illuminate like all along the farm, which is to alert the family members that there's an alien. She kind of does a little bit of hokey pokey with the alien. Lights are not lights. Starts a kitchen timer. You kind of get this. She gets like this little bit of an idea because she sets it, and the alien's looking for her, and then it hears the sound and it goes over and just jumps its whole body towards the sound and tries to kill this thing. Yeah, which she kind of keeps in the back of her mind for later on.
She was like, I did this with one of my children once.
I got him to go play tambourine in a field, and then he got massacred. It's such a funny picture too, just like a kid standing on a field with a tambourine, and then this alien just comes in and destroys
She's
him
just crouched in the bushes in the background, just watching and waiting.
with a pair of binoculars and like a long list of their kids' names, and she just like scribbles one off and she's like, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
And every time the alien comes and takes the next kid, she just sighs and shrugs her shoulders. I'm like, oh well.
The
Damn
Curb
it.
Your Enthusiasm music starts to play.
But yeah, pretty much from there, Evelyn makes her way back upstairs and is in the bathtub as she kind of starts giving birth. But just at this time, Lee and Marcus arrive home and they see the red lights, so they know that there's an alien nearby. Do you guys think that the red lights are for when she's having a baby or for when an alien arrives?
I found that really confusing, actually.
Because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because like the way they react, John Krasinski's like, okay, you go light the rockets, the fireworks, because your mum needs you. But then, yeah, like he goes and gets a shotgun. I don't know. I don't think it's.
I guess it would
exactly
have to mean danger then, because they go straight into like DEFCON 1, 5, whichever the highest one is. But yeah, he's ready for battle, like, right away. Like, you're not gonna...
Yeah.
Like, there would need to be a clear understanding, because if she's giving birth, that's what it is, and he kicks down a door with a shotgun, well, fucking aliens are coming no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but they pretty much, they kind of arrive home. Yeah, Lee sends Marcus off to go, set off these fireworks, because he says, oh, your mum will need you, or something, and he runs off to grab a shotgun and look for Evelyn, and then Marcus sets off the fireworks, which draws the monster out of the house, and Evelyn gives birth in a bathtub. But then it cuts to Regan, who is just sitting by her brother's gravesite, and hears the fireworks and knows what that means. So she makes her way home as well. And
Might I just say, she gave birth so fucking fast. Like, that baby practically walked out. And that
she's a trooper.
That gives credit to my cheaper by the dozen theory. Because that baby torpedoed out of that woman.
Yeah,
like,
this ain't her first rodeo.
Yeah, this ain't her first rodeo. Like, my friend had a baby a couple weeks ago. She was in labour for 24 hours. Emily Blunt's, Evelyn, or whatever her fucking name is, her water broke, and she was like, cool, I'll just go sort this out then. No problem.
Give me 5 minutes, I'll be back.
Yeah. Like, they're lucky. Like, what if she ended up being in labour for ages and then they didn't have enough fireworks? Like, I'm not a mathematician, but something isn't adding up, boys.
But yeah, pretty much then Lee finds Evelyn in the shower after she's given birth to their little baby, and they take them into the room under the barn that they've made soundproof.
There was a lot of blood too. Like, she would have not been in a good way after losing that much blood after giving birth to that baby.
Yeah, yeah. And then
giving
she kind
birth to the quietest baby on the planet too, mind you.
Yeah.
Maybe is it because do they not activate the baby until they slap it on the ass? Like, is that how babies work? Like, there's like, all right, we'll turn this one on. And then it's like,
well, if that is the quietest baby they birth, that's going to be the last man standing.
Yeah.
All the other kids are done.
And this is also where we finally see the baby coffin in use.
Which, it's like
weird.
it's the only way you could have a baby in this world is with that thing.
Is it worth it? Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that baby's going to be so fucking traumatized from living half its life in a box till it learns to be quiet. And as we could see from before, they obviously aren't very good at teaching toddlers how you need to be fucking quiet because their 4-year-old got
destroyed
axed not long ago. Like, was this really like, they're bad parents. They're terrible parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee and Evelyn have a bit of a talk about their dead son, and they're a bit sad. But then
Lucky
Lee heads
they've
out.
got that mattress above their heads. That's so soundproof.
The soundproof mattress. But then Lee kind of goes out to go and find the kids, because the plan for the kids is once they set up the fireworks, they stay there until they come and get picked up by Evelyn or Lee.
Evelyn is left asleep after giving birth, which... What if she snored or coughed or farted while she was asleep? What happens if you have allergies? Like, is this the luckiest family to exist? Because they're all, like, in good health. They don't snore. They do quiet farts.
A quiet fart, part 2.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But pretty much then the kids make their way to the top of that silo. And light the fire and kind of wait for Lee to come and get them.
Because Lee's walking away, he doesn't see that there's fucking water going everywhere.
So the room Evelyn is in is, starting to flood from a broken, we assume, water tank or something.
It's from when the alien came down when Evelyn set the timer, because it was thrashing around trying to destroy the alarm, and it's just obliterated that room.
Which I think was
pipes
funny.
leaking and flooding.
Which I think was funny because, like, it was so quiet coming into the house. Like, it must have figured out how to use a door or something because it just snuck in there. It was just like, oh, there's an alien in here. And then next thing you know, it's like, boom, 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 in a China shop just fucking the whole house up. Like, that's really inconsistent.
Yeah, it's on its best behaviour in the house.
But if you make a noise, that's it.
That's a no-no.
So no from me. I'm gonna smash and kick and punch. Ooh, you look out. I'm an angry alien. Ooh, I'm so angry.
More umbrage to the pile.
Mm.
We're gonna set the umbrage on fire later and see if the other people with umbrage light it as well.
See the nearby umbrage farms on fire. But yeah, pretty much then the kids, the two kids are talking about how Regan feels responsible for Marcus's death as well. The whole family kind of has this across them. They're all kind of carrying it on their shoulders. But Lee heads out to go and look for them. Meanwhile, Evelyn wakes up and the room she is in is completely flooded, and the little baby's in its little coffin-y case thing, floating in the water. And Evelyn picks up the baby as an alien kind of jumps in, and you kind of learn they can actually swim, and they're very stealthy in the water as well. So
which in the next movie they can't swim and they're not stealthy in the water at all, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting in the second one.
Yeah, just when you watch the second one, just forget everything you've just seen because it doesn't fucking matter.
Then, she kind of picks up the baby and the alien's coming closer and closer, but then she gets to go behind like this big stream of water, so the alien can't actually hear her or see her anymore. That just actually gave me a thought. Did you not install a really nice like water fountain or something in your house?
Yeah.
So there's always like flowing water.
Save all of their problems. Like, would it, like, you know, you could put a water mill, like, you know, when the water that just constantly churns.
Yeah.
We just solved all of these people's problems.
But then Marcus falls through the roof of the silo that he's on, and that makes a really big noise. And then so the alien runs off to go catch him. Which, they have these really big corn silos, which Marcus falls through the roof of. Regan hears the alien coming, so she gets in the silo as well as the alien jumps into the silo after them. Pretty intense scene where people almost drown in corn. Which I wasn't sure if that was possible or not.
I googled it. It's not physically possible, but you know, it's
movie magic.
It's movie magic, and it's
movie
possible
magic
if you just believe.
But yeah, pretty much the alien's looking around and thrashing around in the silo, and then it just eventually jumps out and makes a big hole in the wall.
A very conveniently human-sized hole in the wall.
But then the kids get out, and then they are reunited with Lee. Lee gets scratched, doesn't he?
That's another thing. That it's suddenly there's a big change in the way these monsters are acting, and they can't see. Like, big thing. Everybody must remember they can't see. But for some reason, he's like wandering around near the house, and the thing is sitting up on the roof as though it's watching him and waiting for him to be distracted. Waited till he turns around, it isn't facing him, and then jumps on him and attacks him, and nearly he's not fatally wounded, but he's got some serious damage done to him. And I'm like, okay, first these things are big bumbling Gumby things that run through the trees and like, you know, like how a huntsman spider runs away? That's how they run. They're just like, and then suddenly they're all sneaky and stealthy, and they can wait until you've turned around even though they can't see anything. Like, I take umbrage.
Yeah.
More
another one. There's another one for the tally. Lee gets hit, goes down, and then the kids run off to the truck, and they're hiding in the truck, which they're kind of teased at the start that they kind of play in the truck, and they know there's a special routine if they ever get in trouble. But then the alien starts attacking the truck, trying to get the kids. And then, Lee kind of stands up and realizes his only solution is to make a noise to save his kids. And then, Regan and him catch eyes, and he signs to her, "I love you, I've always loved you." And then lets out another very loud yell, which brings the monster towards him getting absolutely slaughtered in 1 second. And then the kids take off the handbrake, and the truck rolls down the hill towards the house the farmhouse thing where Evelyn is.
The weakest little yelp that he does as well. He's like, like Ned Flanders screaming about his purple drapes was more of an effective scream.
Yeah. Like, and based
Old
on,
man
like,
yelling at cloud.
Yeah, the thing is, right, like,
based on this movie's rules, he could have just gone like, as if he was call. You know when you call a cat over and it's like, pss, 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 pss. He could have just done that and it would have come. Based on this movie's sound rules that was established with the cheaper by the dozen technique that the family developed.
Mm.
Pss, 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 pss.
I know. But then I'm always like, could you not have like picked up something and thrown it at the shed or thrown it into the corn thing, and then the alien would be like, oh, I'm going to go get that instead.
Yeah. He had an axe in his hand, so he could have just thrown that at the wall of the tin shed.
Yeah.
And he didn't even fight back with the axe too. He was just like, I'm ready to take me, please. Like he didn't whack him. And we know that they have that magical fully stocked pharmacy down the road. They could have fixed him, but he didn't put up a fight. He just got.
Maybe he was he's just realised he was tired. He's like, I've killed so many newborn children in this life, using them as a distraction. I'm done. Take me now.
He's like, my suicide attempt at the waterfall a few weeks ago was a failure. So now's the time. There's not a waterfall in sight.
Yeah.
Your turn, Dane. Do one.
It's just like Worm Jerry in Rick and Morty lets out this little whimper.
Oh, yeah.
What about the I come and get me for noise?
Okay.
But pretty much, the kids, Lee sacrifices himself for the kids. He has a little bit of closure with Regan. They've always had that little bit of conflict since their youngest kid died. But the kids roll the car down the hill and then they meet up with Evelyn. But yeah, one thing we've actually forgot to mention, Regan has an encounter with one of the aliens in the cornfield. And Regan kind of figures out that the aliens have a bit of a problem with her cochlear implant. It seems to ring at a frequency that they dislike. Yeah, which kind of comes back into play a bit more in this this final scene, which is the next day, and the family are down in the basement where Lee does all of his tinkering, and Regan sees all of the cochlear implants that Lee has tried to make work. Mm-hmm. And they've got the baby, the whole family is down there, and then one of the monsters arrives and comes looking for them. And then they figure out that they can hold the cochlear implant close to a microphone and it exemplifies the noise, and then it almost cripples the alien. So what they use to hunt and to live
gives them a kind of like a seizure almost, just the sonic waves from the implant, because they track them through hearing, and their armor sort of like opens up and sort of jumps off their body a little bit, and it's it exposes their head, because the frequency kind of makes them open all their flaps that they would probably normally use to listen. Flaps, I don't know.
It's kind of like when you're really hungover and the people you live with start making breakfast and it wakes you up and you're way too hungover to deal with that shit and you're like, no! And you just feel really vulnerable. It's like that.
Yeah, so I from memory, this first encounter when she finds out that the sonic boom kind of thing from her cochlear, that's when they are in the cornfields right before they get stuck in the giant in the silo. I think it's right before that. So we've ever so briefly skipped over it, but now we're back to where we were.
But yes, they're down in the basement, and then this monster, the alien is there. Its head's all exposed, and Evelyn shoots it in the head. And it actually kills the monster, which is like the first one that we've seen it get killed. So then, obviously, they've just shot the shotgun at it, so it's made a lot of noise. And then they look on the monitors, and they see all of these other aliens that are coming towards them, obviously chasing that noise. And they get ready to do it again. Evelyn cocks the shotgun as the swarm kind of comes towards them, and the movie cuts to black. And
I really like that ending.
Yeah, me too.
It's good.
It was really badass, and it just cements Evelyn as a really sick character, because she just pushed out a fucking baby
the day before. Yeah.
Like a North Korean missile. Just pew! she's like, all right, let's kill some fucking aliens.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go. Yeah.
I don't care if these kids are in danger. I'm going to kill these aliens.
It was a very
Let's do it.
a very Sarah Connor moment, I felt.
Oh yeah, big Sarah Connor energy.
But yeah, that's pretty much A Quiet Place. It's a very brisk 90 minutes. Like, it goes so quick. So much happens as well. There's heaps of good world building, good little character things going on. Yeah, just a great time all around, I think.
And this
Do you guys have any other positives or negatives?
Well, this is our, just briefly, our third film we've been talking about now, boys. And it goes for 90 minutes, and it's a very small cast, just like the previous two, so...
And the best of the three, though.
What would you know about being trendy, Dane?
I have skinny jeans. I know all about being trendy.
Yeah, did you guys have any other points to touch on, or even any production stuff?
Well, I have a few fun facts for my boys.
Oh,
my
I love
God,
a good fun fact.
If you would like. So, really, the first one, starting from the very top, is that the first 30 minutes of the film, John Krasinski actually edited it with no sound so that he could better relate to the characters. And I really think that paid off. I really think that the first 10-15 minutes was really tense and really effective. So I think
That opening 10-15 minutes,
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think, was the best part of the film.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to top that.
yeah, 100%. And John Krasinski didn't just co-write and direct the film. Did you know he also wore the motion capture for the aliens?
Did he?
Ooh, that's a bit of fun.
Yeah, so for the test screenings of the film, like for the first few, they hadn't actually decided on what the monsters were going to look like, so they didn't CGI anything. So audience members actually laughed a lot at the first test screenings because it was just John Krasinski in one of those motion capture suit stocking things.
Really?
Acting out the monster scenes. And once they actually put the monsters in, though, when they decided on the design, it was really well received. But yeah, there's a group of people that saw John Krasinski leaping around in a bodysuit.
Release the John Krasinski cut, please, of just
Yeah.
John Krasinski in his little outfit.
I would love to see that.
Oh, it'd be so good. I hope he commits as much as Benedict Cumberbatch did for Smaug. You know how
yeah.
there's that footage
He's
of him like
crawling
crawling on
around.
the ground? Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I hope-
I would give up one of my 12 children to see that. Yeah, so then when they actually did decide what the creatures would look like, inspiration was drawn from bog people. So those are like dead bodies that have been mummified in like peat mossy stuff, like, you know, muddy sludgy stuff, and then that makes the skin turn all black and gives it like that saggy leathery look. So that's where they actually said how they settled on what the aliens would look like, which I thought was really interesting as well. They were inspired by cadavers that were like from a bog. There was black and sagging and leathery. What did you guys think of the final monster design? Did you like it? Were you kind of not really much of a muchness for you guys?
I liked them. Yeah, I really like them. I like the way they move. I like the clicking because obviously it's like echolocation, like what bats do. Obviously to help them hear like the sounds bouncing off the walls and things like that. I don't fully believe the CGI. I think some of it could be cool with a practical. Because, yeah, especially when the head opens up and, like, you see the ear. I don't think that's the most believable shot. But overall, yeah, I really like them. I think the way they move, yeah, they're an interesting creature. What about you, Dana?
Yeah, I really like their design. I'm probably on the same boat as you with the CGI. Like, I mean, any monster movie can benefit from having a practical effect, or any movie rather, a practical effect than CGI. But yeah, I liked them. I don't know if you guys know this as well, but when I was doing a bit of research about the monsters and whatnot, all like the little sound effects and stuff, like when their ears open up and everything, it's celery and lettuce getting cracked together, and when their legs are walking around, they've actually gone and got lobster legs and cracked that and stuff like that, and so
What?
Yeah, that's cool.
And if you're ready for the big one, boys.
Oh, goodness.
I know. Another one of their little sound effects was just made from getting a taser and tasering a pile of grapes. You'd have thought.
That's a bit clever.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
love the sound boys. They could do anything.
Mm.
Yeah, clever Foley artists. Well, shall we jump into reviews?
Well, I actually have a few more facts for you, boys.
Oh, my apologies, Ciarin. Continue.
I have
Oh.
two little fun ones as well.
So all the corn on the farm was purchased and grown specifically for the film, which I thought
There you go.
pretty groovy.
They had corn every day on production.
Yeah.
Oh, corn again? Are you kidding?
The first line of normal volume dialogue happens at 38 minutes in the waterfall scene, which I thought that's a long time for a feature film. That's a long time before somebody actually talks.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Hey.
Yeah. I also found a really good this one I like because it's a nice little sprinkle of detail. So the family name is Abbot. An abbot in Catholicism is the leader of a monastery. And abbots in monasteries, like the abbots in the film, lead self-sufficient communities which often support themselves through means such as farming, just like the family does. And some monasteries are also silent, and so the members will not wear shoes and will communicate infrequently with spoken language, just like the family in the film, which I thought was a really nice little touch.
That's very
detail.
cool.
100
Yeah.
chef kisses, the Abbott family, just like the Abbotts in the church.
That's wild. I can.
Very nice.
That's-
very cool.
A fascinating little bit of trivia because obviously I guess that wouldn't be too widely broadcast of a bit of trivia for this film. So I don't know. I feel like I have even more appreciation for it now.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that fact. I love stuff like that.
I like movies that are different, that try different things, that are, do creative things with the world, just things like that. And that's like, that's another level of detail. That's awesome. Yeah, love that. Yeah, well, I've got two fun facts for you guys. The movie only contains 25 lines of voiced dialogue, although sign language was used throughout. And then originally as well, John Krasinski didn't want to subtitle the sign language and just have, like, you should be able to kind of tell what's happening in the scene from the actors without the sign language being subtitled, which is really interesting as well. But then they found in one of the scenes where Regan and Lee, John Krasinski's character, argue, it was quite hard to tell what they were arguing about without any sign language. So
You
then they
ate the
decided to
last
do...
cupcake. You took the last cupcake. I
How
was
dare
saving
you.
that for later.
And then, my last little bit, which I think is very interesting, it was potentially going to be the fourth Cloverfield movie, which I don't,
Lord.
which I don't know if would have been good or bad. I love Cloverfield 1 and 2.
Don't talk to me about the rest.
10 Cloverfield Lane. I do not like whatever that one that Netflix released. But yeah,
Or
it's
Cloverfield
interesting.
Paradox.
Yeah, but imagine how mangled they would have had to make this world and everything to fit in Cloverfield.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as special if they were like, yeah, let's squeeze it in this bad universe that doesn't make any sense most of the time. Like,
100%.
yeah. So yeah, good job on not doing that. Yeah, but do you guys have any reviews? Do we got any good reviews or bad reviews?
I'm glad you've asked, Ryan. Shall I go with my review, boys?
Go for
Mate,
it.
take it away.
I've got a good and a bad here ready. I've got a 4.5 starer. So, A Quiet Place is the first actually good horror movie in a while, alongside Halloween, which I thought was a hugely bold claim, but still. The performances are great and it has a really good plot to it. The movie took a different direction in horror and you can really appreciate the silent performances. So then, my 1-star review. The behaviour of the characters is infuriating and the faces of the kids are really annoying. I can't decide which one I hate the most. The extended periods of silence are setups for loud shock noise ambushes. Thoroughly unpleasant. So we had a they're on Rotten Tomatoes, those reviews, but they're the two I dug up.
I love it.
What about you, Sissy? You got anything?
Yeah, I do. I have a good one and a bad one, just like Mr. D Money. So the first one I have is from the father of horror himself, Mr. Stephen King.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. He says, A Quiet Place is an extraordinary piece of work. Terrific acting, but the main thing is the silence and how it makes the camera's eye open wide in a way few movies can manage. And I think that's a wonderful compliment to get.
Very much so. That's wild.
Oh yeah, from
Mr.
the
King.
Yeah, from the king of horror movies, Mr. Stephen King.
That's like
Yeah,
Spielberg
damn.
praising your dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
I was trying
I
to
thought you
think
were going to
there.
talk about a different movie then.
No.
I wasn't sure. I thought you were going to say something red hot then.
No.
That's like Spielberg.
No. I was just like, I get a dinosaur movie, and then Spielberg walks past and he's like, hey, great T-Rex. I'm like,
Good one.
cool, thanks, man.
I also have a 1-star review from Amazon Movies, so the place where you buy DVDs from. I thought it would be funny to see what the person who bought, like physically paid for a DVD copy of this would have to say about this. It's no surprise that Michael Bay was involved with this travesty. This guy has a...
Savage.
Yeah, I know. This guy has a sordid history with horror movies and remakes. The main problem with most modern horror, and by modern I'm talking the last decade, is that there is zero attention paid to detail. This is why you get so many glaring plot holes. All these filmmakers know are tropes, so just string a bunch of them together and you've got yourself a movie like A Quiet Place, with no effort made for the world making sense. 1 star.
Damn.
Poor Michael Bay. He just wants to show up in a helicopter and yell at people.
I didn't even realise he was involved in this movie, so that's just another fun fact from you that's blown my mind.
Yeah, he's got a lot of producing credits on horror films. Like, I know, like, 'cause I'm a big Friday the 13th fan. He produced the one from 2009, the latest remake. But then he also did the new Nightmare on Elm Street from 2010. He did all the Purge movies, Ouija, Quiet Place.
Wow.
Like, he's got his hand in all those pies. He's ruining a lot of pies.
He's got that Transformer money.
Yeah, he's got those big Transformer dollars.
Yeah. He's not got his finger in a whole bunch of pies. He's got his fucking feet in it.
The worst type of guy to bring for afternoon tea.
My germs! My germs!
Oh, I was really wondering where you were going with that, Ciarin. Ryan, what about you? What reviews have you got, buddy?
I've got 2 good ones. So I've got a good one and a bad one. So I've got a 2-star one, which just says, maybe go live by the Hoover Dam or something, geez. Which, kind of summarizes some of our ideas. But then I've got a 4.5-star. When the credits rolled, I almost flat out screamed because I was so full of anxiety, and anxiety stuck around for another 30 minutes anyways. This is how you fucking innovate. Pay attention, because lately, more often than not, horror is being reinvented right in front of our eyes. Both of those are from Letterboxd. And yeah, I like the second girl's review. I think it's an interesting movie. There's not that many like it. Do you guys have any recommendations? Like, if someone liked a certain type of movie, would they like this? Do you guys have any?
I do have a recommendation, right? And I know that you and I have both seen it. I would say if you liked this, you would like It Comes at Night with Joel Edgerton.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Good movie.
A very vague...
Everybody should just see that movie anyway.
Yeah, very vague, spooky, apocalyptic movie with no explanation, but a good handful of spooks.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Sign me up for double spooks. CC?
I've brought it up before, but if you like War of the Worlds, the ambiguous monsters, action, running from shit, you'll like this movie.
And I suppose if you like plot holes, both movies have a pretty big plot hole. So.
Look, when you're right, you're right. All right, ladies?
But I thought if you liked Don't Breathe, which plays a lot with sound, just as well as this movie does, probably even better. Great thriller slash horror movie. just a great time. So if you like Don't Breathe, yeah, you will like A Quiet Place, no doubt.
Yeah. Don't Breathe is great. And look, coming out of having watched this film a second time, where I really didn't like it the first time, mildly enjoyed it this time, it is a lot better than Bird Box. We can all agree on that.
We can all agree that, Bird Box is the lowest of the low.
I just feel bad for my girl Sandy B, because she's a cool lady.
She knew what she was doing.
The Blind Side.
Yeah, she knew what she signed up for.
Yeah.
What did she call her kids in that movie?
She called them Boy and Girl.
Boy and Girl.
Yeah.
I just think so you do The Blind Side. So you win an Oscar. You can pick any fucking movie you want. Why'd you pick that one?
Yeah.
Riddle me this, Sandy B.
Get Sandy B some better roles, everybody.
Yeah.
But I suppose I come to the last question. Would you guys recommend A Quiet Place?
You know what? If
you just said you liked it.
Yeah.
If you want something fun to watch,
it's a good popcorn little movie. And I think it's a nice little hangover movie. It doesn't require too much thinking because obviously, the characters don't think. Yeah, sure, why not?
That's pretty rich coming from you, considering you don't like popcorn.
God.
I told you that in confidence.
Don't even get me started.
Don't get me started. It'll be an endless rant.
But yeah, if you like, if you're looking for a fun movie to watch, that you're not going to get too spooked. You're like, oh, I don't like being spooked, but I want to feel like, oh, I'm a bit scared, but I'm okay in the end. Then this is a good.
I would definitely recommend this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's an interesting take on the genre, and it's pretty quick. A lot happens. It's just a really enjoyable movie. It's good. It's a good popcorn movie, even if you feel guilty because you're making so much noise when you shovel popcorn into your mouth. But it's a great time.
100%. Well, boys, we've gone all the way around the circle. Well, is it a triangle? We've gone all the way around the triangle now, and we're back in my corner of the triangle.
Oh my god!
Why was that so hard?
I didn't go to school.
Do you want to say it again?
No, leave it. That was fine.
Okay.
Alright, so what you're getting at, Ciarin, is it's your turn to pick another film, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we got up next week, CC?
We're going to watch Underwater with Kristen Stewart.
Oh,
okay.
See, I don't know the first thing about this movie. Like, I haven't looked up the synopsis or trailers or anything. I'm going in completely blind, so I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Thanks for watching movies with me, boys.
No worries. Yeah, Ryan, thanks for the recommend. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than I expected the second time round.
Well, that's good. I'm very glad. But I'm currently winning with the best movie choice of the three of us, so I'm going to wear that crown forever.
I'm going to copyright my Cheaper by the Dozen theory.
Make sure you get it, yeah. You got it in audio form, get it in writing, and then we'll be right.
You heard it here first, boys and ladies, men and non-binary friends. Cheaper by the Dozen theory.
Alrighty. Well, until next week, we'll do Underwater.
Beautiful. It was a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Alright. Thanks, buddies.
I love you very much.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.